do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I do, and it's very funny seeing Danny DeVito play this absolute monster when he is just the kindest, gentlest guy in real life. And he's not an absolute monster. He's Frank Reynolds. He's hilarious. He's crass. He's terrible, but yeah, in real life he is the nicest, gentlest man, and so kind and soft-spoken and lovely. Well, he can be soft-spoken and he can also be very loud.
Well, he's from Jersey. We all do that.
Yeah, he's from New Jersey, you know, we love him for it. Hi, everybody. Hello, Columbus. How are you all doing? Oh, come on. You can be a little bit louder than that. There you are. Use your diaphragm.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So, all right, thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, thanks for joining us this weekend.
Yeah.
And having a good time?
I am, yeah, I'm having a good time. I met a monkey today. I did. I met a tiny monkey. There are now pictures of me with a tiny marmoset on my shoulder on my social media. I just got this bracelet that says Matilda that somebody made for me. I've had a really great time. The fans have been so incredibly kind and thoughtful, and I have met some very cool people. I was just talking with Mick Foley backstage, and
a sweetheart.
Yeah, I met Harvey Guillen on Friday, and
another sweetheart,
and just poured my heart out to him because I love what we do in the shadows. And I was actually Jackie Daytona for Halloween one year. And Giancarlo Esposito and so many really cool people. And I get to hang out with some of my old friends like Matt Lawrence, my brother. So, yeah.
Oh, welcome. Well, I always do this when I have a solo guest, and I just was like, okay, let's kind of go back to the beginning, the origin story. How did performing start for you?
Probably about the time that I emerged from the womb.
Right?
No, I was always I always loved to perform. I loved to make up stories and perform them. That was my favorite thing. I think I was sort of a born theater kid. And I just loved singing and dancing and making up songs. Well, dancing I wasn't very good at, but I liked making up stories and performing them, and I liked reading things, and that was something that really meant a lot to me. And I was fortunate and perhaps maybe also unfortunate enough to grow up in Burbank, California, which is the home of a few places like Disney Studios. It's now Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network headquarters. It's also got, NBC, Warner Brothers, so many different studios. My father worked for a TV studio, so...
What a lot of people think of Hollywood, a lot of that is actually in Burbank.
It is actually in Burbank, and it's not a glamorous place. It's like a small city. It's like you would think it was just like a normal, small, suburban town if you didn't know that, a few blocks away, there was Disney. So, I actually took a meeting at Disney once, and they were like, "Oh, you're from here, right?" And I pointed out the window and said, "I was born across the street." So that was the environment that I was in. So if you wanted to act when you were a kid, it was pretty normal. It was seen as, kind of a normal thing. A lot of my friends did commercials, and my oldest brother had done a tiny bit of it himself, and I thought that it would be fun. And so my parents tried to discourage me from it, but eventually I think they didn't think it would be that big of a deal because they didn't think that it would really go anywhere. But then I got cast in commercials, and then I got an audition that was a long shot for a movie, and that movie was called Mrs. Doubtfire. And I think that was my first movie audition, and it was an open call, and I went, and I got called back, and next thing I knew, I was, doing screen tests in San Francisco with different kids to see if we could form a family.
Wow, and I know there was a little... that movie was a little hard to kind of sell to the upper echelon because a lot of people just looked at it as, okay, it's another version of Tootsie.
People did see it as Tootsie. I remember my mom saying that it was a bit like Tootsie, but I mean, I think that there's something to it that is really about, a family.
Oh, no, very much so. I mean, at the beginning stages, everybody's like, sounds like Tootsie. All right, fine. Oh, Robin Williams interested? Oh, well, then, yeah.
Well, I don't remember that because, I was 6 at the time and not reading movie reviews. So, but yeah, I mean, I could see that. I understand, what people were saying about that. But I had a great time filming it, There's not that much that I remember from it because I was very young, but I have a lot of happy memories from it. And I mean, Robin was wonderful. So was Sally.
It's a film that's made a lot of happy memories.
Thank you. Yeah, people have told me that. I've had people say really nice things to me because of the film, and even to this day, say that it helped them get through a divorce or their parents' divorce.
I know, adults and children.
Yes.
It is a very comforting film for dealing with divorce and dealing with post-divorce and the acceptance of that situation.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they don't get back together at the end, which I think a lot of people expect in movies about divorce. And in some ways, it's a sad ending, but it's also a happy ending because it is about families and how families are, come from all different shapes and sizes. And I think that's something that's come across in a lot of movies that I've been in.
Absolutely. Well, we're going down that list then. Miracle on 34th Street. The second version of it, and I think it stands toe to toe with the original.
Thank you.
I'm always a fan of they both work. They both absolutely work.
They're different, they're different in different ways. Like people will ask me a lot about the Matilda musical, and I'll be like, well, it's different from the movie, but sometimes there can be more than one interpretation of something. And I mean, Miracle was very fun, except for the scenes that we did in. Anybody here from Chicago or from Illinois? Yeah, I see one or two hands.
Yeah, one guy has a hand.
Yeah, okay. It's not always the nicest in the summer, it can get kind of hot and humid. So imagine wearing layers of wool and corduroy and being under 1,000 lights in the middle of June in Chicago.
Oh.
And you see if you don't develop a heat rash. So that wasn't exactly the most comfortable, but the cast was just fantastic. I mean, Elizabeth Perkins was lovely. Dylan McDermott made me laugh all the time. And Sir Richard Attenborough, I mean, he is an icon.
Yeah.
So, and this was right after he was in Jurassic Park. So imagine going from Jurassic Park to being Santa Claus.
And then wonderful actor, and then of course, his behind-the-screen films, and as a director and filmmaker, it's just like
he's an excellent filmmaker as well, and just a kind man. He's another person that I'm just very glad that I got to know.
That's wonderful. I'm very glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I have to talk to you a little bit about Matilda. Not that I won't have some questions about that, but it was certainly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But certainly, though, I think that was it's been your strongest vehicle. During those years.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's probably still my favorite movie that I was in. I think because the movie, well, the book meant a lot to me as a child. I think it meant a lot to little girls and probably to a lot of kids, regardless of gender. I had a lot of happy memories of reading it. I would borrow it from my brothers. And in fact, when it came out, my mom read it and loved it. And my mom was a very good storyteller, and she had a very good narration voice. And she would read it out loud to my brother's class.
Dahl really understood kids.
He did?
In the sense that he never talked down to them. He kind of respected them.
I think that he understood that kids have a darker sense of humor than we think. I mean, think of how much, kids love fairy tales, and fairy tales can be very dark, and so I think that he had that dark sense of humor, which is also very British, I think, and he capitalized on that. So, but Matilda, I think, is a story. There aren't very many stories out there, or at least there weren't at the time, about, smart little girls getting things through their intelligence and through working hard and having their own power. So I think that was something that really resonated with people because there just weren't that many movies like that, and really not even that many books like that.
Very true. Well, again, I thought it's a wonderful adaptation.
Thank you.
And DeVito certainly and again, as an actor, he does not get and a filmmaker doesn't get the credit he deserves. And Rhea, of course, that whole film was perfectly cast, in my opinion. It really is.
Thank you. I mean, people always ask if Pam Ferris was actually scary, and no, in real life, she's just the type of woman who wants to tell you about her garden and her rescue cats and rescue dogs. Literally one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I've had tea with her. I've had drinks with her. She's lovely.
Out of all these wonderful films you've done, what's probably the craziest day you've ever had on any of the sets?
Oh my gosh. Well, it depends what you mean by crazy.
Well,
good crazy or
good or bad.
Good or fun crazy.
You can take it any direction you want.
I mean, I probably the most good crazy day was the birthday party Danny DeVito threw for me on the set of Matilda. where I was really worried that nobody would think of my birthday because they would put on the call sheet, the call sheets where, the thing they send out the night before that tells you what time to be there, what they're going to be filming that day. And, it changes daily, so they have to change it. And I remember they wrote like happy birthday to Pam on a day that she wasn't actually there. And they didn't write happy birthday Mara on the call sheet for me. So I was very sad. I thought they'd forgotten my birthday. And then the next day I got there and there were hundreds of balloons in a rainbow over my trailer. And inside there was every accessory for the Molly American Girl doll. And my family was not rich. We couldn't afford American Girl dolls. So I had always wanted one. And there was all of that. And there was a cake in the shape of Matilda's red hair ribbon at lunch. So he spoiled me. Danny DeVito really spoiled me. And so did Rhea. And yeah, it was the best birthday ever. My 8th birthday was the best birthday ever. I think there was like a little ice cream truck there too, like full of Ben and Jerry's. Like, yeah, it ruled. That was probably the best day. And we did some filming and then, had a birthday party. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Very, very wonderful. When did was writing something that was parallel, that was always there, but didn't have an opportunity to, or did it manifest? It was just something that sort of occurred to you later on?
No, writing was something I always wanted to do. From when I was a little kid, I just always wanted to tell stories and make up stories. And when I was bored on film sets, we would be switching over cameras, things like that. I would go back to my trailer, and I would just make up stories. And I probably still have, or maybe like my parents do somewhere, have like old script papers where, I've written stories and drawn the pictures for them. I always wanted to be a writer. I knew that was what I wanted to be when I grew up. And yeah, I think that I wasn't sure what kind of writer I wanted to be. I'd write essays in high school, and I would do the thing where you stay up late before the essay is due and you bang it out, and I would still manage to get, an A or maybe a B. And so I was like, this is great. I can do this, but I don't know what kind of writing I want to do. And I didn't know really until I got to college and I took a playwriting class. And there I realized that there was something that I had been doing for a lot of my life that gave me actually an advantage there, and that was eavesdropping. So I'd been listening in on other people's conversations all my life. I had 3 older brothers, and they're like Greek chorus of teenage boy friends when I was a kid. And I had all these grown-ups on film sets that I was always listening to. And I just loved the way people talked. So that was really what I loved to do. And I think all the time about going back to playwriting because it's really fun to come up with characters and let them speak for themselves.
Absolutely. I mentioned your latest book, Good Girls Don't. Tell us about that.
Good Girls Don't is, it's actually not in bookstores, but it's available on Scribd. Yeah, on Scribd, the Scribd app. Good Girls Don't is, I think it's about, it's kind of about how you can sometimes, if you are a good girl, I think that you can sometimes overcommit to things, and you go into this thing I call the blank word cycle. We could call it the brat cycle. That's a nicer word than sometimes what I've used. And what it means is basically that I think if you see yourself as a good girl, or if you're told you have to be a good girl, sometimes you end up going into this cycle where you overcommit yourself and you don't say no to anything because you don't want people to think that you're mean. But then you inevitably do too much and you get resentful and angry, and people are like, wow, she's so mean. And it goes into the cycle, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to be better. But then you overcommit yourself over and over again. So it's really about how I think being a good girl was something that I struggled with for a long time, having to be the good girl, having to be, behave. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about child actors. I think a lot of people think that, we're spoiled brats. But spoiled brats don't go very far in the film industry because you have to work hard on sets and you have to do exactly what you're told. That's what actors do. So for me, it was a lot of getting used to being told what I had to do all the time, but then getting frustrated about it too. So that's what it's about, and it delves kind of deep into my personal history with that and the frustrations that I've had and trying to be, a decent person instead of just being the good girl.
And that's not your only work. Want to tell everybody real quick about your other works?
Yeah, I wrote a book called Where Am I Now, which is sort of a memoir of my childhood, about my childhood acting and about, I would say, about my life and the strange places that it has taken me. And where am I now? Because for a long time I wasn't doing any shows or acting or anything, and so I would pop up in where are they now? Articles online and in newspapers and tabloids, and I thought that was kind of funny. So yeah, and that is a book. It has a picture of me as a child on the front, but I would say it's for teenagers and up. Because there were a lot of great things about my childhood, but there were also some that were not so great, just like there are in everybody's lives. So I've done that, and I've written a lot for a lot of different places, and I want to keep writing.
We absolutely look forward to it. And thank you
you.
for indulging my capricious curiosity. I'm going to jump in the audience right now and hear some of these questions from these fine people. Ready? Just very free rules, one question at a time. Whoever asks the first question will actually get 2 pieces of candy. So who's going to go first? I'm not doing this Donahue style. We're doing a line. So come on up. And if you're old enough to get that reference, God bless you. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Riley. Thank you so much, Mara, for being a big part of my childhood because I watched a lot of 90s movies when I was
Thank you.
younger.
Thank you so much.
But, my question is, have you, watched or at least listened to some of the songs for the new, there's, the Matilda musical? Because
I haven't watched the movie yet, but I did see it on Broadway a couple years ago, and I have actually met some of the Matildas. I did a show recently with Gabriella Pizzolo, who played one of them a couple years ago, and I did a show once, probably right about when the show first came to Broadway, with Sophia Janusa. And I went up to her and her mom to introduce myself, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Mara," and she said, "Oh, we know who you are. Matildas know each other." So I haven't watched it yet, but I did get to see it on Broadway when it came out, and I mean, I think the music is great. It's really great, and people are telling me all the time that it's done. I feel like it's been done at every school in the United States. It's done everywhere, and it's really adorable. There's always so many people will show me the cutest pictures of their kids dressed as characters from Matilda the musical. It's adorable.
Great. Thank you. Great question. Mm-hmm. Hey, what's your name?
My name is Josh. I know we spoke earlier. Thank you again for being a part of my childhood.
Thank you.
So you were saying that Matilda was your favorite movie. Do you have a particular favorite scene or thing that you did?
There were a couple scenes that were really fun to film. I mean, of course, chasing Miss Trunchbull out of the school because it's a food fight. That's, who doesn't want to have a food fight? And Pam was a very good sport about it. There was also, I would say, the montage scene at the end with Miss Honey, although I do remember there was one scene where we were eating a box of chocolates, and most of the chocolates that we ate in the movie weren't actually very good, but these ones were. And we were eating the chocolates, and I remember Danny, who directed it, was shouting things out, and he yelled out, do this, do that, and then he said, feed each other. And I remember looking sadly down because I really wanted the caramel that I had picked up, but I went like this, and she went like this, and I bit into the chocolate she gave me, and cherry juice exploded out of it and all over what I was wearing, so I had to go change. The healed cut, everybody laughed, and I went to go change. So those were probably the most fun. Also the dancing scene, because I'm not a very good dancer, so to make me more comfortable, Danny insisted that everybody on set that day had to dance. So we just had a big dance party.
Thank you.
Great question.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Hi, what's your name?
My name's B. My question was, if they would have offered you a guest role in the Matilda musical movie, would you have taken it?
I mean, probably. I don't know who I would have played, but that would have been really fun. They didn't do that. I think they like to keep it a little bit separate from the movie because it's so different than the movie. It's not based on the movie, it's based on the book. And so it's a different interpretation. But, that would have been really fun. I love musicals, and being a part of a musical is a really fun thing.
Great, thank you. Hey, what's your name?
I'm Steven. First off, I just want to say on behalf of me and my girlfriend right here, I got to be that boyfriend. She is a huge, super mega fan of yours.
Thank you.
What's her name?
Her name is Kylene.
Kylie?
Kylie?
Kylene?
Did Did you have a question, or does he have a question?
He has the question.
Okay, just making sure. Wait, all right, so I just want everybody to know you. Okay, what you got, boss?
I just had to put her on the spot. I had to be that boyfriend. All good. All my questions for you have actually already been answered, so I actually have a question for you.
Oh. This isn't about me.
Well, we saw you at MegaCon, and that was my first convention, and you were the first host that I ever saw. What is one interview that you really had to contain your fanboyness for?
William Shatner.
William Shatner?
William Shatner.
All right.
Good answer.
Thank you. Okay. And now resume my original. Okay. If you have a question for me, you can ask me after. Okay. But appreciate it. Hey, what's your name?
My name's Hannah. Hi. I know you said that you've seen the Matilda musical. Do you have a favorite musical, like, ever, of all time?
Oh, a favorite musical ever? Oh my gosh. Well, when I was a kid, I watched West Side Story a lot. I watched The Music Man a lot. I was a big fan of My Fair Lady, but I don't know if I like that one as much anymore. I as an adult, I really liked Cabaret and Assassins in Chicago. So many different ones. Company is another great one. You know, became a very big Stephen Sondheim fan as I got older. But really, I just like, well, that's not true. I can think of a couple musicals I don't like. You know, Phantom. But look, Jesus Christ Superstar is great, but I'm not the biggest Weber fan. But yeah,
I'm more
I
of a
think that those
Godspell
are-
guy.
Sorry.
I'm more of a Godspell guy.
Godspell's great. Godspell's great. Yeah. So yeah, those are probably my favorites. But don't get me started on this because I will spend the whole rest of the interview talking about musicals.
Do you have a favorite?
I do. I love Les Mis and Moulin Rouge. So
Great choices. Great choices.
Those are good.
Yes.
Those are
I want to
good.
play one of the Thenardiers so badly someday. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Great one. Hey, what's your name?
I'm Peyton. What's your favorite movie you watched as a kid?
My favorite movie I watched as a kid? Oh, let's see. The Princess Bride was probably, I mean, that was a big one for me. That was a movie we watched when we were sick, you know. That was a movie we quoted all the time. And yeah, I mean, seeing Chris Sarandon here was like, you know, that was very exciting. And I was a little intimidated because in my mind, he's still mean Prince Humperdinck.
What was your favorite?
Me and my mom watched Matilda the first time, and I liked it. It was good.
Oh my gosh. That's so sweet. Thank you.
Hey, oh, don't forget that. You get that. There you go. All right, good. Hi, Mom. What's your name?
Hey, I'm Elizabeth. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. If you weren't doing writing or acting, what would you want to be doing?
That is a very good question. So I minored in sociology in college, and I think that being a social scientist of some sort would probably be what I would want to do. I definitely think that like studying anthropology or studying sociology or something like that, I really like people. I think people are fascinating. So I think that studying people would be a really cool thing to do. Like, I'm sorry, I'm an extrovert. I love studying people and I would love to learn more about them. I do think that it takes a lot to become, say, like a counselor or a social worker. Maybe if I had the heart and the strength enough to do it, I could do that. But I think as it stands, yeah, something where I could study other people maybe, or study animals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, what's your name?
David. Hi again, Mara.
Hi.
So my favorite railroad is one that you filmed that for Magic Railroad. I know it's a cheesy movie, but I love it. The Strasburg Railroad. Can you tell me about your experience filming there?
Oh my gosh, the Strasburg Railroad, was that on, I'm trying to think, is that was that in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania?
Yup.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was a really interesting train line. And I remember though we were driving through, or not driving, we were on the railroad through Amish country. And some Amish kids came up and they started looking at us on the train. And I felt bad because I was like, oh, I hope we haven't scared them with all the film crews because they probably just want to keep to themselves and like, you know, be living their lives. But yeah, that was really cool. That was a really cool train line. And it is very cool to be able to say that technically, you know, I have ridden on Thomas the Tank Engine.
Nice. Thank you. Great question. Hello, what's your name?
Shay, first of all, I want to say you're awesome. I met you yesterday. My question is, did you ever find it weird watching yourself in your movies?
Yeah, I don't usually watch my movies on my own because I think it's a bit like looking through your old baby pictures on your own. You know, like it's kind of like, oh, this is a little bit strange. Oh, that's me in the bathtub. I mean, I don't think I'm in the bathtub in any of my movies, but you know, it's something that I feel was like it can be a little, I don't know, I feel a little conceited doing it, but I will watch it if friends or family want to watch it, and if they tell me that it's on and they want to watch it, I'm like, oh, thanks. It's a nice reminder, like, hey, you like this movie, and so like all the time people will like tag me on Instagram or something. They'll be like, hey, Matilda's on, I'm watching it, and you know, that's really nice, I think. I think it's natural to be a little embarrassed of it, but I'm also very proud of my past and what I've done.
Cool. Thank you. Good one. Hi, what's your name?
Naomi. Hi, Naomi. Hi, I'm a little shy. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Take your time. You're awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
You've been in my childhood my whole entire life, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
But it's about Mrs. Doubtfire. What was your first impression seeing Robin Williams as Mrs. Doubtfire when you first saw him in all that makeup?
Well, they didn't have the mask that he wears. The mask that he wears, he looks very normal. At first, they just put makeup on him to see, we did a couple of makeup tests to see how they would look on camera. And he looked kind of frightening. So I was a little weirded out at first because the makeup was like very heavy and very strange. But I remember sitting next to him and being a little like, and I'd met Robin before by that point, but being a little like, okay, you know, but I remember him saying like in a very gentle voice, like, it's okay, dearie, don't be afraid. And, you know, I moved closer to him and he asked if I wanted to tell a story. And, you know, that was the magic word. And I told him a very long, rambling story on camera. And somewhere out there, there's footage of me telling him a story about a little baby bunny who didn't do what he was told. Yeah, it's he was very kind and he was very good with kids. So yeah, we had a great time with him.
Thank you, Naomi. That was a great question. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Robbie. Robbie, what'd you like to know? What were your favorite parts of filming Thomas and the Magic Railroad?
Let's see. Probably working with my favorite parts of working on Thomas were probably, I mean, working with Michael was really fun. Michael, who played Junior, he was really fun and really funny. We had a great time working with him. That was really cool. It was kind of fun to pretend to ride in Thomas but you would just be in like a box and they would shake the box back and forth so it would look like you were on a train. And then seeing it all put together later on was really cool. It was like, oh, right, here's a scene where I'm in a box being, you know, shaken from side to side. And then it becomes something, you know, really cool later on. Also, we had to take horseback riding lessons because there's scenes where we're riding on horses. So I remember having fun riding horses. There's a picture of me on the horse, and afterwards we would always have a tea break, and I would have a tea and a Twix. Very English.
Nice. Great question.
We filmed in
Thank
England, if you couldn't tell.
Hey, what's your name?
My name is Matthew. Is there any like 90s movie, thinking back to like childhood, is there any 90s movie that you would have wanted to play in?
Oh my gosh. Probably. That's a really good question. I don't know if there are any 90s movies. I mean, there were a couple that, you know, I probably was asked to do or auditioned for in the 2000s but didn't get. Like, I remember being asked if I wanted to audition for Arrested Development, and, you know, that would have been fun. Somebody told me recently, actually, this is a good one. Someone said to me recently, oh, I loved you in The Addams Family. And I was like, thanks, but I wasn't in The Addams Family. And then I said, you know, I wish I'd been in The Addams Family. That would have been really fun, but I don't think anyone could ever top Christina Ricci as Wednesday. So I think that, you know, that one would have been fun, but she is the queen of that movie. So, yeah.
There you go. Thank you. Good question. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Katie. Hi, Katie. Did you get to keep any like props or mementos from any of the movies from like Mrs. Doubtfire or Matilda or like Miracle on 34th Street?
I did get to keep some of the dresses from Matilda. I would wear them, like the dress that I'm wearing in the last scene, I think, or one of the last scenes when I'm at Ms. Honey's house. I remember that I got to keep that one, and I definitely really liked that. There were other things I think that we have. I mean, I still have a hat that says Matilda on it, because you always have hats and jackets with the movie's name on it. And I think that those are probably the things that I liked the most. I was a strange kid. I would collect strange, strange things and strange props, and I always thought that the props were, sometimes the coolest part of the movie. So I don't remember if there was anything in particular that I kept, but I did definitely get to keep the dresses and probably some of the hair ribbons too.
Nice. There you go. Thank you. Good question. Hello. What's your name?
Nicholas. Hello, Nicholas. What would you like to know? What are your favorite hobbies to do?
What are my favorite hobbies? Let's see. I really like baking. Does anybody watch The Great British Bake Off? Yeah, I was watching that last night. I love that show. So I try, but like I'm not as good as any of the bakers on there. Although I did once make Nadia's chocolate chip cookie cake for my sister's birthday, and it turned out great. What else do I do? I love to hang out with my friends, and I have a lot of friends who work in animation, so I like to watch animated stuff with them, or sometimes be in their animated projects. Stuff like Ollie and Scoops and Hell of a Boss, things like that. And yeah, some fans out there, yeah. And what else do I like to do? I'm really close with my sister. My sister and I hang out all the time. I love my cats. I'm definitely a big animal fan, and playing with other people's dogs and cats are really fun too. I do love to travel and to go to different places. And let's see, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and I'm not a gamer because I don't play like legit games, but I play all the like really easy games like Stardew Valley and like The Sims, which is embarrassing. And I just started playing Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and it's really, really fun. And my favorite thing to do, so one of my favorite ways to relax after I've been like recording an audiobook or I've been, on my feet all day at one job or another, or I've been writing all day, is I will just play a video game while listening to a podcast about history or science. Kind of nerdy, but kind of my thing.
Right on. Thank you. Great question. Hello, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi. So you've been recording audiobooks, loaning your voice, or these books. What I wanted to know would be if there is a book, old or new, what would you like to loan your voice to record?
Oh, well, one person who, this would be awkward because I have friends in common with him, and you don't want to ask a favor of someone that you know but don't know too well, but I would love to do a Neil Gaiman book. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do any Neil Gaiman project. Good Omens was like really important to me as a teenager, so that's one that I would love to do. Also any character in Hitchhiker's Guide if they ever do another version of that. I don't think there are any Americans in it though. I've also, I think that like, let's see. I think that like, I had one and I just forgot what it was. Oh. So there was a book series called Animorphs in the 90s. Some of you might remember. There was a follow-up to that. The authors after that did a series called Everworld. And speaking of Neil Gaiman, this was basically like American Gods, but for preteens. All of the gods and goddesses were in it. I loved these books so much. And I actually have just tried to send message to the authors begging them, saying, if you do audiobooks for Everworld, please let me play April or Senna. Please let me audition to play April or Senna, because there were 2 female characters in there that were really interesting, and I would die to play either of them because that would be my, 12, 13-year-old self's dream come true. So the Everworld books are, what I have to say. That's definitely my dream.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Good one. No, that's for you, yeah. Hello again. What was your name?
Oh, hi, my name is Kitty. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I just got to say, I loved you and Matilda, Mrs. Mayberry, and my question is, do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I do, and it's very funny seeing Danny DeVito play this absolute monster when he is just the kindest, gentlest guy in real life. And he's not an absolute monster, he's Frank Reynolds. He's hilarious, he's crass, he's terrible, but yeah, in real life, he is the nicest, gentlest man, and so kind and soft-spoken and lovely. Well, he can be soft-spoken and he can also be very loud.
Well, he's from Jersey. We all do that.
Yeah, he's from New Jersey, we love him for it. And he's part of the reason why I love the state of New Jersey myself.
Oh, I'm from there. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I want to get like an I Heart NJ t-shirt. I feel like I should.
You should.
Yeah.
We're in Jersey. We'll know you're not from there.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Great question.
Thank you.
All right, let me throw this out. We got a few minutes. What's the dream gig? If you could write your own ticket.
The what?
If you could write your own ticket, what would be the dream gig?
The dream gig?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. I mean, I would love to write the book of a Broadway musical. I would love to make documentaries, especially animated documentaries. Like I said, I'm a huge nerd. And I love animation, and I think that we don't always realize what animation can do. I mean, there's some people out there, like I would say, like Guillermo del Toro is somebody who knows what animation can do. But a lot of people, I feel like, don't respect it. And, like, I'm sure everybody in this room does. Because a lot of Western animation and anime fans here. Yeah. But, you know, I really wish that people would pay more attention to that. So that's another thing, not only documentary, but like to be in an animated feature film is a very big dream of mine. And also to do an audiobook of a bestseller, because audiobooks are my favorite thing. And I love getting to play, you know, both the hero and the villain and both parts of a couple and the mother and the child and, you know, that kind of thing.
I do voice acting, and
Yeah.
one thing I always recommend to people is, because the question always comes up, how do you get into voice acting, and the celebrities got their own thing. I always say, listen to audiobooks.
Definitely.
Because it's not voices, it's permutations and timbre and so many realistics, and that if you have the right ear, you can say it's a heck of an education.
It really is, and it can show you how you can play all these different characters because you have to. You know, you have to play these different characters, and sometimes it's not just about, you know, doing a high voice or a low voice. Sometimes it's about making your voice a little bit slow or having a little bit of an accent or something like that. So that, I think, is really, really fun.
It's a lot of choices.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, a lot of choices. Anything else on the horizon that you can share with us?
Let's see. A couple of voiceover projects that I unfortunately can't talk about yet, but that are coming up soon that are going to be really fun.
We'll stay tuned to social media.
Yeah, and definitely do that. And definitely some writing that I'm working on as well. And I'm begging Viv to let me come back for more Hell of a Boss. But I don't know.
Hell of a Boss is rising.
It's risen.
Its popularity is, it's just not.
Okay, I'm in one episode, and that one episode has 60 million views on YouTube. I can't believe it. And I mean, I asked her if I could be in Has-Been Hotel, but she's like, you need to be like a Broadway singer to be in this. And I'm like, okay, I can like sing at karaoke night, but I don't know if I'm Broadway ready, so I don't know if there's a part for me in this. But yeah, hopefully I'll work with her again and keep supporting independent animation.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for
you.
joining us here today. We have just loved listening to your stories, and on behalf of myself and else, I thank you for your talents.
Thank you so
for your
much.
professionalism. I thank you for all the performances you brought to all of your roles.
Oh, thank
It's been
you.
an absolute delight.
Thank you so much.
Please come back and see us.
I will. And thank you so much, Columbus. You've been wonderful. Can I get a round of applause for you?
2023. This is Matilda Wilson. That was our time. But before we go, we're going to take our GalaxyCon stage selfie. We're going to invite everybody to come towards the stage, not on the stage. Towards the stage, we're going to take a picture of our amazing guest and all of you.